Hi, welcome back. Thanks for joining me for another video of building the AK Cobra. Of course, we're in season 4 here, doing the Mark III chassis, which is a first for me. So thanks for joining me through this journey. In this video, the main point is getting the body on. As you can see over my shoulder, I think it's out there on the driveway, so it's quite in the way, at risk of being reversed into quite often by myself and my wife. So we're going to get that on with the help of some friendly neighbours, hopefully. But we do have a couple of updates before that. So let me catch you up. All right, so the first thing to note is I just received a delivery from Merlin Motorsport, and they're my preferred go-to for a clutch cable. So I like to get a clutch cable made up out of flexi braided. Of course, it's got the a 3/8 UNF banjo on one end, and it goes to a 7/16 end. You can choose either male or female. So I'm going to be finishing my clutch line with a female end, and then that flexible cable will just of about 10 inches will just go over and go into the clutch there. So that's all good. A little pricey, 30 odd pounds ish. The end of what cost you, not necessarily the braided line. So moving on from there, everything else is looking okay. We're testing the brakes. So I've just hooked up the brake, the pedal box onto a slab of wood, put some holes into it, etc. Got the brake servo on the other end. So we're about to fill that up with fluid and start the procedure of testing the brakes, bleeding the brakes first, obviously, and getting the air out, and then we're going to just test for leaks. So I just hooked up a couple of temporary lines. If you're lucky in your position, you might be able to use one of those lines later. For when you put the body on and everything. I think actually these might be a touch too long, so I'll just be shortening them and then putting the end back on, flaring, etc, etc. But we need to be testing this because it's much easier to be checking for leaks, etc now rather than when the body's on. It's all a little bit more difficult, and the access is not so good, and of course visibility, that's the main thing. So let's fill that up and get squeezing. All right, so that's all tested. As suspected, there are a couple of little connections that I need to nip up a little bit more tightly. So that is all good now. The majority were good. It was just a couple, one on the rear brake line, and actually just one of my fittings here, actually, to my temporary little hoses there, which I just bent out the way, trying to keep as much fluid in there as possible, hoping that perhaps I won't need to bleed the whole lot, but maybe I will. So what are we up to now? Well, we are going to get the body on. I think I'm in a good position that I can do that. I need to clear everything off the body. I need to get my tiger seal ready, because we're going to have to run beads of tiger seal around the chassis, a bit on the back line there, and another bit just around the fuel tank. So we need to do all that, and of course, that starts going off. So I need to get my volunteers ready and hanging around for a sort of 10-15 minutes while I squeeze that bead of tiger seal around, and then we need to get on and put the body on. So need to clear all this place up. Luckily, we finally got a dry day, so I'm going to uncover the body and get all these bikes out. Okay, we are nearly ready. So I've cleaned all the rails and everything where I need to put the tiger seal, and I'll soon put up the camera for a time-lapse kind of video. Still waiting for volunteers, but let me give you the benefit of a previous build. I highly recommend, as much as you want to stop this stainless steel from scratching, if you've opted for this option, it's a lot easier to peel off the film now, because you're going to be really restricted when the engine's obviously in the way. And at the front here, you've obviously got the radiator in the way, only giving you sort of an inch either side of that. The alternator, no doubt, will be rubbing up against this. I usually cut three slots and then bend this into the wheel well and make a nicer sort of flap, and then tiger seal it around, just to make a bit of a relief for the alternator. Certainly it's hit on 3 out of the previous 4. cars that I've done. Anyway, let's get back to the film. So I highly recommend taking the film off, basically, because it's hard enough sat in this engine bay right now, let alone when stuff is in the way, and headers and rails and things like that. I have left that bit. I'll fight with that bit, I guess, and the bit around the top. And other main top tip is put in the brake servo now, because it's hard enough putting it in anyway, because you've only got, you know, half an inch of space here. In fact, previous ones, I think I've put the brake servo in and then added the cylinder, if that's what you call it, afterwards, because it was so tight. Anyway, this worked out all right, but the main reason for putting it in is because once it's in, and then you've got the chassis down here and the headers and everything, it's too big. The whole unit is just too big to feed up from the floor through the chassis, or feed down past the engine and everything else. I have done it, but I've had to push the you know, sprung arm in and kind of wire it in a closed position, and even then I think I had to take out the oil dipstick as well, because that was hitting. So it was just much easier to do it now, even though it adds a little bit of weight for the person on that corner who's lifting it. That's my biggest tip. I don't think anything else. You know, make sure all the holes are done. You don't want to be bringing this down on the gear stick stub out of the gearbox, and also make sure your hole is in the back for the fuel tank. And I think that's pretty much it. No need to put the pedal box in yet. You can add that later, and obviously do it up with nylocks and everything else. It's just to get the brake servo in there. I think we're in good shape. I can't remember if the bonnet things are going to be in the way, so I might just use a bit of garden wire and just have it in this up position, just so it's not going to impact any of the header tanks or anything else. So I'll do that and then round up my volunteers.
Don't know what you wanna achieve, but make 'em believe you know where you're going. Doesn't matter when you're with me, I like you for you and all that you're doing. I used to be just like you, trying to meet the expectations of this life. But I wrote my own set of rules, you should write your own too, so we can feel alive. Let's get lost in the night, lost in the night. I'm gonna be there, yeah, be by your side. Let's get lost in the night, lost in the night. Nothing can compare to this feeling, alright. When you're lying there old and gray, you'll think of the days you savor the moment. You'll remember the leaps of faith, the love that you gave, only thing that's worth knowing. I used to be just like you, trying to meet the expectations of this life. But I wrote my own set of rules, you should write your own too, so we can feel alive. Let's get lost in the night, lost in the night. I'm gonna be there, yeah, be by your side. Let's get lost in the night, lost in the night. Nothing can compare to this feeling, alright.
Well, as you can see from that speeded up clip there, we got the body on. I cut a few bits out where the girls are just chatting, so excuse that, but you didn't miss anything at all. Let me just show you what I've been up to. All right, so pretty simple job. Touch heavier at the front, especially if you've got the stainless clad in there, and of course I've got the brake servo in there as well. But you know, get it up to shoulder height, it's pretty good, pretty easy then to get it up and over the engine, and then just drop it down gently and it sockets home on its own, really, because of these sort of sunken footwells. So all good. So all I did there towards the end, I'm then trying to be polite to the helpful neighbours, really grateful for their help. But I'm quite eager to get the body tightened down so it's sort of squidging out all of the sealant there. And I went through 2.5 tubes of sealant, just so you know roughly what to expect. And I will need lots more for the build. For example, with this Mark III, they cut out this section here, so that needs putting back in there. They give you the cutout, that needs all sealing in, and you fill in a lot more of the gap there, so water can't get in. I seal anywhere around the body. You can't really see this side actually. Let me see if I can squeeze you in there. So just where the body meets the frame, I'm going to do a load of sealant, because spray gets in there, and then all the water collects in the metal tray underneath here, and you can hear it swirling about, and it's obviously not good. Some people drill a hole in the metal work underneath here. They drill a hole upwards, not into this area, just so some water can drain out if it does get in there. So you can think about doing that, but all I've been doing is running around doing up these bolts really. Now I'm going to undo them one at a time and put in slightly larger washers to spread the weight, because you can hear a little bit of flexing and cracking, and I stop straight away as soon as I do. But those M10 washers are not wide enough, so I will just be putting some larger ones in, still M10, but a much larger washer to kind of spread the weight and allow you to do it up just a tad more. Bolt right at the end there, got these couple of bolts in here, so that's all good. Quite eager to get these bolts in, especially because there's quite a lot to squidge out, because you put a load of sealant around the whole frame, around the petrol tank underneath, so there's a lot to squidge out there. And I'm fairly eager now just to put some bolts in here with some nuts, even before I put the roll bar fixings in there, because there's a load of sealant on the line across there. Or no, actually I do little dollops, I think. And there is a bar that actually goes all the way along, so that needs squishing out as well. So I'm just going to put a few in there with some large washers, and that's it. And I'm quite keen as well to support the nose. However, first time I've had this, the AK have failed to drill all the way through. So that shiny bit there is actually the stainless cladding just in there. So normally it's drilled all the way through, and you can then put a bolt through into the nose fixings, but I'm going to have to drill that fairly soon, because I don't want this nose to be unsupported. So I'll just buzz a couple of holes through both sides and I'll fit the bolts. So all good. It was a good day yesterday getting the body on, and now it's pretty daunting, because obviously we can just crack on with the rest of the build. So I think what we're going to do first is finish up the fuel and brake lines and just tidy that away before I start getting any wires out. So let me show you what I've got in mind. All right, so we've got a new style fuel pressure regulator here from AK. So that's a new one on me. I'm not sure what the bracket's like or where to mount it. I think onto the well, it previously went up here, and maybe that's still the same case, but I know that John has previously mounted it on this bar here, so we'll just check that out. We've got the quick release fuel line here, which is essential in my eyes. The first one I did, I Jubilee clipped the braided fuel hose onto here, but of course, you know, that does restrict you in case of issues, so that quick release is excellent. So we've got to bring the fuel line up from the filter there into a T-piece, off to the fuel rail here, and then across the top here is the likely route to the pressure sender or regulator, and then back to the fuel tank. So we'll do that, and we'll also hopefully plumb in the fuel brake lines here. Of course, we're going to have to mount properly the brake servo to the pedal box, so we'll do that as well. I have punched through this stainless steel and now mounted the nose. Let me just show you underneath. It's not too tricky. So I decided, because the nuts and the thread would have stuck out, and I don't want anything, you know, rubbing against the wheel or a possibility of that. So we've put them through the other way, so it's kind of a smoother finish here. And if we have to, not that I think it'll make any difference, we could put nut caps on there as well. So it's all pretty tidy under there, quite happy. Quite nice that the chassis missed this top of the shock mount here. Previously, you know, I've seen some rubbing on here, so you have to just cut a little arch out, so I'm glad we don't have to do that. I did notice that again, all the holes are not done through the stainless. They had done on a previous one, so I'm not sure if it's something they're meant to do or they forgot or whatever, but everything else is looking good. So let's get on and see, check our fuel run. All right, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and mount this fuel pressure regulator about here. I think that'll, there's an outlet to go on here, that'll give it a nice run straight out and a nice drop straight down. So I think we're all good there. So there's a metal bar just behind here that we'll be going into. So I just need to line that up. Okay, so I did some practice fittings with a bit of a hose that I had spare, and I decided that even though a fair amount of the hose gets pushed onto these fittings, and indeed it's quite hard to then pull off, and even, you know, probably even safer with by the time you've got a Jubilee clip round as well, I didn't feel really totally confident, and I'd rather have a bit more hose going onto a fitting. So I've decided to purchase these. So this is AN6 to a barbed end, or just, you know, a quick release end or something, and I think this will be a lot better. The hose is obviously going to go on a lot further. There's a lot more width there for a Jubilee clip to go on. So I've purchased a couple of these to go onto the fuel pressure unit there, and that'll just be nice once that's nipped up. So I've got another one to go on there, and I'm thinking that for this quick release over here, I'm going to get an adapter, probably, so it's AN6 to a female to go on there with a barbed end, and I think that'll be better as well. You know, this pressure system is a high pressure system, I understand, up to 60 psi. So I think it'd be better to have a bit more meat, a bit more length for the hose to go onto. Anyway, so let's get fitting those, and once I've fitted that, I can get on and lay the route for the rest of the pipe. All right, so we're getting there with the fuel line. I've got the hose going up to the pressure regulator there. That goes off to the fuel tank. Coming from the fuel tank, we're coming up from the fuel filter, the little blue bit here coming up, tees off, and the rest of it goes off to the rail, just waiting for an AN6 female to go onto this quick release with a 45-degree barbed end, so that'll go into that nicely, and that'll be held out here quite nicely. Contemplating some sort of P-clip, possibly just on the side. So now we're just doing the hose off to the pressure regulator. So I've already cut a bit, and I'll show you what I'm planning. Let's have a look here. So we're going to try and stall in that now. It's going to be a bit tight. I haven't got a lot to press onto here, so we're just going to try and get this in on first. Okay, that went pretty well, and then we're going to put that end on. Let's go around. Okay, that's all looking good. I'll do those up in a sec, probably about like that. So that's all looking good. Probably looks a bit messy for you on camera because I've got to peel this stuff off. But now we're going to do a couple of P-clips just to support that in a straight line. I quite like this. You could have taken the fuel pipe down, attached it, or even zip tied it to this rail here that's on the Mark III chassis. I've always done it up here because previously I haven't had this extra chassis paraphernalia, so I've gone straight across here, and I quite like the extra bling, and it looks quite good against when we peel this off. Anyway, so we're going to mark, I think, 2 P-clips on there.
Live for yourself tonight, time to let in the light. It's good for your heart, oh yeah. And if we start a fight, I'll be right by your side, no matter what. Let's get lost in the night, lost in the night. I'm gonna be there, yeah, be by your side. Let's get lost in the night, lost in the night. Nothing can compare to this feeling, alright.
We're all done there. So when this has got a P-clip down here to hold all this will be held nice and straight and taut, so it'll look quite good. I did attempt to do hidden fixings and fix these underneath, which would have been awesome and nice and clean. However, the bar that I was expecting to go into, the top of the scuttle bar, which is this metal bar here, isn't actually put in hard up against this wall here. There's a gap of a good 7, 8, 9 mil, and unfortunately the fixing, when I went in underneath using cameras and mirrors and all sorts, didn't quite reach it. That might change on other builds. I think next time I will try and do that again, but I will have a look at it when the body's out on the driveway, so I can actually get into this area, and I'll pre-fix these P-clips from underneath, ready to take this top hose. So that'll be a lot easier rather than faffing about. Anyway, that'll all look really nice once this is off. I've left this on here just to put in this bezel for the wiring loom, which is what I do on my builds. I like to have the wiring loom coming out quite centrally there. Seems to work quite well. Each leg goes to each side of the engine. I know that AK come out down here, so it's a bit more hidden perhaps. So that's might be something that you want to look at. But that's what I'm doing. Alright, so as you know, I pre-fitted that brake servo before I put the body on, which really helped things. I've just fitted the clutch there, so that's ready to go. A little bit tricky in there. I'm not sure if I can really show you. I certainly couldn't film it because of lack of light. Let me see if I can get a bit of light in there. Oh, not that right. There we go. So all these fittings, fairly easy to get to with your 13mm socket. I've used 40mm M8s in the top in the far corners. These at the very top are a little bit trickier to get into, this one particularly. So your helper might be manning the power tool while you just hold a spanner on that. But otherwise, I had my helper hold the spanner on the other side and I used the power tool in here. So we're all cooking on gas there. So we're going to finish up the brake lines because then we need to fit the steering column. All right, so onto these brake lines. So you've caught me halfway into the job here. So I've done the front brake lines, and from a bit of AI and Google Internet, it seems that the front port on the brake servo is this one, and the rear one is this one. So that's got to go to the rear line just down there. Now in this line, I'm going to put the brake light switch as well. So I'm going to be mounting this straight through the wheel arch there, and we'll have a short bit of pipe going to it from there, and a short bit of pipe going up into the servo, into the master cylinder. So so I'm going to bring you along on that. I did contemplate screwing this directly into this end, but I'm not sure how those two surfaces mate and whether it needs the sort of malleable copper pipe in between to make a good fitting. So I'm going to put a short bit in anyway, and at least that gives us something to really sort of tighten, etc. So let me just mount this somewhere where you might be able to see, and we'll crack on. All right then, let's get cracking here. Not sure how much you're going to be able to see, especially with my head in the way. So first of all, we've got a short bit of pipe going to the brake switch. So we're just going to loosely put that in, hopefully. If that's right, that's in roughly the right position. Right, so now I need to be marking some holes here. So let's see where I'm going to be doing that. So a bit of space for the clutch. About there is looking good. So let's just I'm pretty happy with that. Right, so let's mark a spot. Okay. Right, let's just whip this out of the way. Right, I'm going to drill a hole, so let me just cover the end of the pipe here so it doesn't get any bits into it. All right, punch. Okay, started off with a 3, just to get the hole going, then we'll change it up to a 6 because we're going to put a 6mm bolt through there. Okay. Okay, that's all good. Right, so now we need to just check the bolt length. So let's put this back in place. And we're going to have to use some washers as well as a bit of a standoff. Back. Right, let's get the bolt going. Right, so we've just got an M6 bolt to hold all that nice and firm. Right, so we'll have a couple of washers in there as well, just to keep that away from the edge. Let's just see how long that is. All right, it's well long, so I'm going to mark that up and cut that. Okay, so it might be that we should have the bolt come in into the engine bay, so we didn't have any sharp bits where the wheel might hit. So we'll just cut that off and then put that back. All right then, so got our bolt cut off, and yeah, I'm going to come in from the engine bay there. Let's see what we got to play with. All right, so we need to get a few washers on there. That's pretty nice. I want to go with one more, or is that okay? Oh, I think that's pretty good. And then we'll just get a washer on this side. Let's just check that now. It's a little tight. Yeah, I think that's going to work pretty well. So we're all right there, and now we've got to the last bit of pipe. All right, so I've just measured that up, put some ends on, and we're going from the cylinder here. It's all fairly easy. You don't need to be too accurate because, you know, obviously copper's really easy to bend. Okay, so we need to do a little bit more of a rise there. Let me just undo it again. Okay, just going to bend that a little bit of a rise, and then come down. Alright, let's see where we're at here. Right, we're coming out, and then we need to dive back down. Okay. That's looking pretty good. Maybe just a little bit more of a tweak there. Just going to so it lines up nice and straight. All right. Okay, now that is just about right, so we'll just hook it over into its socket, which is lovely. I'll just slightly just be a bit straighter going into its socket there. And that is pretty much it. Make sure it's in the right place. Right. It's not quite biting there. I'm obviously not quite straight enough. Got it. Okay, there we go. Right, I just need to nip that down and do up my bolt through from the wheel arch, and then we can do the clutch line. All right then, so we're on to our last bit now, which is the clutch pipe. Now, you could make a little bit of flexi up like I have done the other end from Merlin Motorsports or the like, but I'm doing this with a hard line because you don't need a banjo on this end. So this is the pipe that I've just come up with. So that's all screws in nicely. Now you'll notice this is actually a slightly smaller diameter. It's the same as the brake line, so it's not a 1/4 inch like the rest of the clutch. So it's only just for this short section, and I think that's absolutely fine because at the end of the day, if you were to use a banjo, the hole in the banjo is tiny. So I think just this small section of slightly smaller diameter pipe is fine. And to fit that, I've got a reducer on here, so it's going from 1/4 inch to whatever the size is that brake line is. So I know that visibility is very poor for you guys, but this is basically what we're doing. So I'll nipple that up nice and tight, but that's essentially it. So I can just slightly flex that as I need to. Now this needs to be supported. I haven't done it. Let's just do that up a bit tighter. There we go, I got it. Right, so I might just need to just pull that out slightly. This needs to be supported because it's more than 30 centimeters unsupported. So I'm going to be putting a P-clip in, and I think I'll be able to just use this same hole and put a P-clip from this bolt around here, and then that should all be good. So let me just see if I can measure that up and just straighten it slightly and see if we can get that supported. All right then, so we are done. Let me see if I can give you a slightly closer look there. Let's have a look. Excuse the fingers. All right, so yeah, I used one hole for 2 P-clips just underneath the brake and clutch line there, and they're all coming up nice and neatly. Really quite pleased with that. And then they split off into their various holes. So there you go. I'm glad that's over. Don't have to do any more flaring. Right, so I think we're going to call it a day for this video. I think it's quite a big achievement getting the body on and also finishing the brake, fuel and clutch lines because they're a job that never seem to end. So I'm glad that's all over. In the next video, we're going to concentrate on the steering column fitting because that's quite a major job in itself, and we'll put the roll hoops in as well. So I'll see you again.